that.
I can hear you.
No, that's Lisa. Okay, you can hear me? Hi, Lisa. We're still waiting for a couple of people. Hi, Susan.
Hi.
We're waiting for Peter and let's see who else said they were gonna know. Edith said she was gonna be on too. So yeah, it's 6 o'clock now, so they should be joining us shortly.
Is 4 a quorum?
Yeah, yep, 4 is a quorum. Oh, Edie's on. So Edie, you made her panelist. Yeah, okay. Hi, Edie.
Hello. Katie.
So we're waiting for Peter.
Just noticed you can see my vacuum in the background.
Oh, yeah.
So you know
The one's fine.
You know, you could change it up, Lisa. Every time you are on, we could try to guess the appliance behind you or something like that.
Yeah.
There's Peter.
Oh, here's Peter. Okay. We have the quorum.
Okay.
Hi, Peter.
Hello.
Hey, Peter.
So we've got a quorum with 4 here. So I don't know if Barry's going to join us or not. We didn't hear from him, but if he does, we will. Oh, maybe that's him calling in now.
Yeah. His voice has been on.
Oh, it's Laura. Okay. So we could go ahead and get started.
If not, we'll consider that approved.
Okay.
Also sent out was the July 13th minutes. Did anybody have changes to those?
No.
Yeah, we'll need a motion on that in a second.
On the
Yeah, we probably
agenda
should
or
do
on
that on the approval of the agenda and the minutes both.
Okay. Do we have a motion on the approval of the agenda?
I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It's approved. It is, the agenda is approved. And then do we have are there any changes to the minutes?
Yeah.
Not, can we have a motion for their approval?
I'll motion.
Okay, Edie.
Second.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. We don't have a lot of choices here.
No.
Yeah.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The minutes are also approved. Public forum, I don't know. Do we know who's on the telephone?
There's no one else that's joined in.
Okay.
That's Laura, right?
Laura's on the phone, but we've got,
There's two Laura, there's Laura showing up with a name and then the phone. Are they both her?
Yeah, they're both me. One's for audio, one's for video.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, so there's no
public.
public that's joined in the meeting.
Okay. Just a minute, something popped up over the top of everything for me. Okay. Don't know what that was. Oh. Okay. So we'll skip over the public forum. Item number 5 is the extension of prior approval for certificate of appropriateness to construct a front porch at 329th Street in the Old Town Historic District.
Okay, I'll explain that to you. On April 9th, 2018, this was originally approved, the porch at 329th. It's James Wilcox that has the property. And he didn't get started on the project within that first year. So he asked for an extension, 1-year extension, and that can be granted by the Planning and Housing Director. And that was granted. But we're only authorized by the code to grant 1 extension. So any further extension has to come to the commission. And so he's requesting a second extension of the approval to construct the front porch. And the regulations for that in the code, the guidelines, they've not changed. He's not changed his proposal. Everything is the same. So our recommendation as staff is to grant an extension through the end of the year. So trying to wrap things up to get the project done and close the file on that one. It's up to the commission as to how long you want to grant him an extension for, but our recommendation was through the end of the year. So,
okay.
So
I walked by there yesterday,
yeah,
and it appears that the stoop has already been removed, and looks like they're ready to start construction on it. So
yeah, I think he's got someone lined up to start soon.
So I think probably through the end of the year is sufficient for him, and we could all extend it beyond that if there was some reason to. Is there a motion then to go with the staff recommendation?
I move.
And that'd be alternative 1.
Alternative 1. Okay.
Did we had a motion? Did we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. It is approved to per staff recommendation to provide an extension through the end of the year. Okay, next item is the discussion of our revision of goals, objectives, action steps. I've been
Oh yeah, I can do that.
in the middle of going through that. I didn't get all the way through, but it looks like Laura, I think it's probably Laura or whoever has drafted up proposed revisions based on the comments. Looks like a pretty good job of doing that.
Laura did the initial part with the items in red, which was
Okay.
really helpful. And then I took those and changed the actual goals, objectives, and action steps with deleting some things and adding others.
Okay.
From what came out of the discussion. And I don't know if you had time to look those over.
I did not get all the way through. I got about 4 pages into it.
Okay, okay. So, did you want to go through
Yes, I think
goal
we
by goal?
can just go one at a time.
Okay. So, one of the comments by the commission was to strike, form an umbrella organization of neighborhood associations, because one already exists.
Right.
So we didn't need to form another one. And then the action step that's added, shown with an underline, that came out of the discussion as well. Is there a way we can move this over to see the whole thing? So as you read that action step, yeah, that's good. Does that sound like what you remember from our discussion with providing each neighborhood representative with the information? It's from Chapter 4 of the Historic Preservation Plan, which it identifies several different neighborhoods where there could be some potential for creating an historic district or local landmarks. And so get that information out to the neighborhoods and then encourage them to conduct a survey, more detailed survey that would then identify those structures that are historically significant.
Yeah, and I think later on we have something about trying to hold or trying to address the neighborhood summit on neighborhood preservation.
Yes.
And sort of go over this idea with them. So this would sort of be in conjunction with that, maybe in advance of it, but then we would have a chance to talk with them about the idea. If, you know, who knows when there'll be a summit actually held.
Right.
At this point.
Yeah, very true. The next action step was stricken because we decided design guidelines for historic streetlights was not something we wanted to pursue.
Right.
And objective B, facilitate the preservation efforts of neighborhood associations. We just added on to that first action step. And then we had that statement, I believe it was Ted that said, let's include a statement in there that clarifies that potentially eligible does not necessarily mean the property will be listed on the National Register of Historic Places. So I added that in there. And then we come to the neighborhood summit, as you were just talking about, Peter.
Okay.
I put down each year as part of May Historic Preservation Month activities. It wouldn't have to be then, but we could do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
We could do it that way, or I think it's been in the fall that the city has held a neighborhood summit where the police and some other departments talk about things with neighborhood representatives. And I guess I would see that we could either hold our own event or be a part of that, which already has reasonably good participation from neighborhoods.
Right.
I don't know, how do other members of the commission feel about holding a separate event versus participating in something that's already brings most of the neighborhood representatives together?
think
The-
combining activities would bring the most attendance.
I agree.
True. Yeah. And the ones that I believe are invited to that meeting are the ones that we have, identified as neighborhood associations. And so we have an actual contact person for the neighborhood.
Right.
So that would be the people we'd be getting if we joined in with them. It'd be the neighborhoods we would get.
I think that might be a good initial way to start it. And then if anybody's interested, then meet with them. Set up something with people that express an interest in following up.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe individually.
Yeah. But I think to just make an initial appeal and present the idea, I think it's better to address it to the group that comes together anyway, rather than, I don't know, I've held too many things and not had many people show up just because it wasn't on their radar to start, ahead of time.
Right. Yeah, this kind of has a history to it already.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's informal enough that people who have questions, who just want to look and see, maybe they thought they wanted to move into a historic neighborhood, they can meet some of the neighbors who already live there. It's not always possible to find out who's in a neighborhood, and this is a nice way to meet and greet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we'll need to talk more about just how you want to do that all,
Okay.
pull it all together. But I could take out that part about May Historic Preservation Month, and just change that action step so that, it's clear that we're going to move ahead with this on it. It already kind of says that in the text that we have. So it really kind of covers the annual summit. Is there anything else you'd want to add besides that?
Well, I would almost say right now it says that the commission will host it. I would suggest that it say that at least initially it may be to participate in the city's neighborhood summit.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
I think it's your department or your department that sponsors that neighborhood summit.
Right.
Although
We'll participate.
the code enforcement people and the police are the years I've attended it, it's primarily focused on things like that. But I think it would be a good chance for us to get the word into the most number of neighborhoods at once.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, I'll change that then to reflect that. Okay, objective C. The action step didn't really cover what the commission wanted to say there. So then we added this new action step to be more explicit about what it is you'd like to do. With the, working with the chamber and the Convention Visitors Bureau and Iowa State and individual neighborhoods in developing content, design, and distribution of walking brochures. Focus on neighborhoods, historic sites, and other areas of Ames, including downtown, to a wide audience, attending conferences, special events, or just visiting the community. Anything you want to change about that?
I don't know if it's something to be changed, but we do already have, that walking one for downtown.
We do, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And there's one for Old Town also.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's this older one too for downtown.
So the only thing I would say is we might possibly add the Ames History Museum into the list of people to
Okay,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
coordinate
that makes
with.
sense. That makes sense.
Because I know they were involved in the downtown plaque tour.
right.
Sure.
Yeah. I'll add them in.
Okay.
Anything else on that one?
No, I think it sounds good.
Okay. And then objective D, the discussion was about combining the two action steps into one. So that's what you see there is, research the change in property values in Old Town since it was created in 1989 and use the findings to encourage other neighborhoods to engage in preservation and be designated as a local historic district.
Okay. I think it does
Does what you wanted to.
comment on.
Okay.
Mhm.
Objections, anybody?
No.
Okay. And goal 2, so this action step has been addressed with funding. This is the where the city's going to provide funding to the Ames Historical Society now with the new name now, the Ames History Museum, and that's been done. So not for specifically to fund a full-time equivalent employee, but there is funding in place.
Right.
Yeah. And objective B, we deleted that action step and then add a new one saying provide information to the owners of historically significant properties on the use of financial incentives that are available. I believe that came from Ted.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay.
I think in part that's done through the website, but I don't think that has to be spelled out in the action step. So,
Okay. And objective C, again, we struck the action step that's there and said that we would partner with the Ames History Museum and State Historic Preservation Office to provide information on preservation tools available to the owners of historically significant properties. So, does that do what you wanted to under that objective?
I think so.
I think so, yes.
Okay. And then the next one is about garages, retention of outbuildings and garages, and that was addressed in the changes we made to Chapter 31.
Mm-hmm.
And then this action step, I think this came from Ted also. He wanted the terminology changed from natural resources to cultural landscaping.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
And then we struck the last part of this action step as personal undertakings because, it may or may not be.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one option, but
Right.
encouraging them
Mhm.
to possibly partner with other people as well.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And goal 3, enhance municipal policies to protect historic resources, implement policies through identification, effective legislation, and efficient regulatory measures. We have quite a bit in there about Chapter 31, which we have updated. And so that's been completed. So the commission had said to take that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, My only thought there is, do we want to say it's being specifically add to the comment that it's set aside as completed or marked as completed? I don't know.
So you mean, do we want a record of it?
Yeah, I mean, on something before we said this can be considered completed.
Mm.
To me, that as we're presenting this to the city council, I think, oops, I guess we lost Ron.
Uh-oh.
We'll see if he comes back.
Hmm. Well, we'll have a record of the plan as adopted in 2009, and then we will have an updated version in 2021 or 2020 here. So
Yeah.
you'll have a record in the prior approved.
Well, I'm just thinking about that what we're putting together here is what's going to go to the council. And so I think it would be good
In the council memo to say something.
for the what appears to the council to say this is deleted because it has been completed.
Add the background, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably to them, that would be good. And that will be of record too then.
Right. So
Okay.
I don't have any problem with taking it out, but I just think the comment could be, this can be set aside because was accomplished in
Exactly.
2016 or whatever it was.
Right. Perfect. Yeah.
So Peter, with Ray gone, can you just continue with the review, or does Ray have to do that?
I don't think I have the ability to share screen or anything. Do you have?
I've got my, yeah, I've got my PDF or whatever.
Same here.
Susan,
I've
do
been
you?
following on it because it's bigger.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, so we could probably just go ahead if that works.
Okay. See if catch up where we are.
Let's see, where,
Okay.
Goal 3, page 4. Was that?
page 4?
Yeah. Yep. Okay, objective B becomes A,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and we are changing just to say that the commission will be prioritizing surveys to be done and funding mechanism and helping to identify or strategizing funding mechanisms to achieve them.
Right.
Yeah.
Hello, Ray.
Oh, you're all still there.
Oh, yeah.
We lost that connection.
We've just continued.
We
Okay.
just went to the
Are we
next
done?
one and we're just talking about it now, so.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's
Nope,
okay.
that's fine.
I've got Benjamin here with me. He's another one of our planners, Benjamin Campbell. And he got it back on here, so
Okay.
thank you to Benjamin. So you were looking at that action step?
Yes, and I
Objective
think we thought it sounded fine.
Okay. And then we added an action step about revisit key neighborhoods that had surveys done, put links to them on the city of Ames website. And Ted was mentioning put surveys in a format, or was it Ted or was it you, Peter? Anyway,
I think it was
The commission-
Ted.
the commission agreed that to put surveys in a format that is easy to understand.
Mhm.
I'm not quite sure what all that would entail, but I can see where it's a good idea. Use graphics and examples that are recognizable to the public. I think Ted's point was, the way surveys are written, it's a little difficult for, just a homeowner to draw from that what they, need to apply to their own property.
Mhm.
Yeah, I personally think it's a good idea to have the original form of the survey, but then to have it in sort of layman's language as well. But I think it's best that people that really want to look into it can go to the original
Sword.
language type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is any conflict with what we have here. It's just a comment.
Okay. So then the next one, link older neighborhoods to newer neighborhoods as well as to the Ames 2040 comprehensive plan. I wasn't quite sure what we were trying to accomplish there. Does that?
When I got to that, I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I was thinking that the idea was sort of a mentoring thing in that first one.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if anybody else remembers it.
No, not the linking.
I could check with Ted on that. I think that came from Ted also.
Okay. But that's the only thing I mean, that's what came to mind when I read that, but I don't remember the specific comment.
I don't either, but I'll talk to Ted about that and get back to you.
Maybe a progression of development of Ames kind of thing, but check with Ted, obviously. But
Okay. And then the next one, objective B, revise local historic district and landmark design guidelines to clarify their intent and reflect new materials, technologies, and green issues. So we wanted to get the word sustainability in there.
Yes.
That came from the commission. And then use graphics to illustrate design guidelines to make the guidelines more user-friendly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess I would say there could also be a comment in here that this was partially addressed in the revision to chapter 31.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Okay. Because that did pull in a lot of new technology.
mhm.
Yeah, it did. Okay. I'll add something in there about that then too. Then objective C, we altered that slightly, continue to designate local historic districts, local landmarks, and properties for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. So just to make it a little more clear.
Mhm.
And the action step, the Historic Preservation Commission will identify and prioritize potential National Register historic districts and strategize funding mechanisms available for surveys and preparation of National Register nominations. So that was just kind of a clarification thing also. Okay. Then we eliminated the action step about explore potential to register the Lincoln Highway in Ames as a National Register of Historic Places historic district. Seems like we addressed that somewhere else too. In the action step right above, explore the possibility of designating a property in Ames as a National Historic Landmark. And it did, well, no, that wasn't that one. That's different still, but we have that example of the Farmhouse Museum because that's the only other one we have in Ames as a National Historic Landmark. I think there's something else as we go on here about Lincoln Highway. Okay. And then on this objective D for the action step, the first one, we just added a word in there. And City of Ames for objective E follows appropriate instead of, good is kind of a subjective term. What is good? What's good to you maybe not good to someone else. So does the word appropriate sound appropriate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it works.
Okay. And then utilize the expertise of the Ames Historic Preservation Commission. Again, just adding a word. Objective F, which was the former G, there's no change. Goal 4. Makes the action step more clear. Decide if this is something the historical museum would do or already does. Okay. This one we didn't really come up with an action step because we talked about maybe this is really more the historical museum than it is the commission. I mean, we have the surveys, but the historical museum has the more archival materials than we do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then objective B, eliminated 2 action steps there. We've already, it says promote and offer walking tours, lectures, workshops, and other educational opportunities focused on historic preservation. And we took out 2 action steps and then just left the third one, sponsor workshops targeted to multiple audiences with emphasis on commercial and residential architecture, property incentives, and hands-on brick and mortar issues. So,
is the mention of walking tours here redundant after the other, or?
I think that was the point. Yeah, it was redundant after we had it in that other action step. Any comments about this one?
I can see the commission promoting walking tours. I'm not sure if the commission sees ourselves as offering walking tour.
Right.
I'm not sure what that means. If that means we would actually be organizing it and putting on an event.
Mm-hmm.
That does make it sound that way. Yeah.
Whereas the lectures, workshops, and educational opportunities focused on historic preservation sound more like a function of our commission than offering walking tours. So,
yeah, that's a good point. I think that is appropriate. With the action step that's there, that's more the role of the commission.
okay, so I would just knock out the word. Well, I guess that offer applies to all the things, though.
Oh, promote and offer. Okay.
I guess it's not a problem then. I was reading it as only applying to the walking tours, and
Oh, yeah.
if it's considered to apply to the whole list of them, then I don't know that it's a problem, because for different things, you could have
Offer.
some promotion.
So with promoting on the objective, the promoting lectures, workshops, and other opportunities, that could be, we could assist in promoting something that the Ames Historic Museum was doing, as well as maybe other entities.
As well as possibly the
as a joint venture, you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
And then the action step is that we could maybe see if we, the commission itself initiates a particular workshop or lecture or something like that, that we're the primary.
yeah, that, I guess that's, I think it works out the way it's written then, that this action step says we might actually sponsor some in this category versus just promoting maybe in partnership with other people offering something else. So,
I could see as the commission, you know, wanting to, you know, and I think we have something in one of these that says, you know, to work as partners with, you know, other entities. So we would certainly promote their efforts, as we would hope they would promote ours.
yeah. I think it's fine as it is written now that I read it.
Okay. Well, it's good to talk it
Now
through.
we talked it out.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Objective C, utilize website and online presence. We just clarified there on the Historic Preservation Commission section of the City of Ames website.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the action step, develop graphics to assist the public in understanding and utilizing design guidelines in Chapter 31 of the Municipal Code. And that came from the red comment down below there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And promote the use of financial incentives for projects that involve historically significant properties in Ames. And then we deleted that next action step because it was accomplished and is ongoing, so it was suggested that it be deleted. And facilitate the dissemination of historic preservation information. You know, that's an objective that was deleted. As I recall, the dissemination of historic preservation information, we thought that that was maybe more in line with the historical museum. Does that sound right?
No, I think what we're saying is we're considering that that's part of utilizing the website.
Yeah, because it says
Because
as it's addressed under Objective C.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So then we would delete this last action step too. That's not, doesn't have a line through it, but it should.
Yeah.
Okay. Goal 5. Says include developers in the list of partnerships.
I think that and private developers should be under.
Yeah, I think it should be underlined instead of,
Sure.
yeah, I think we added that. So that should be underlined instead of cross through.
And the Ames
Okay.
Historical Society should be the museum.
Oh, yes, yep. I'll change that.
Good catch. I didn't see that.
Okay. Objective A, there's an action step under there that we reworded. Meet with the city council and planning and zoning commission to review authorities, responsibilities, and procedures on an as-needed basis. You know, it before it said at an annual joint session, which, you know, we had one last year, but but I don't think we've had one every year.
Right.
So we changed it to on an as needed basis. That came from you guys. And then change the word communicate to collaborate with Iowa State. And added some more language to this action step. Collaborate with other Iowa communities and other interested parties to, instead of establish, we were saying identify and promote specific historic resources along the Lincoln Highway Historic Conservation Corridor across the state of Iowa. That's where that Lincoln Highway part comes in.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we changed the next action step to add partner with the Campstown Action Association and then Iowa State University to promote remaining aspects of the historic character of Campustown. So that came from this comment in red. Yeah. And objective B, we added an action step. Explore additional ways the Historic Preservation Commission could be involved with the demolition of potentially eligible historic properties in Ames. And that came from the discussion as well. And then objective C, integrate the historic preservation plan with other priorities of the city council. It says review the Ames Comprehensive Historic Preservation Plan report and determine priorities as necessary. We took out the part, but not more frequently than once each year. Who knows? Who knows? It'd be good if we did it once each year, but you know.
Well, but that says not more frequently.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, it's kind of
every quarter or something.
Kind of an odd restriction, isn't it? Yeah, it is. And then goal 6, change historic preservation to heritage tourism. I know that came from Ted as well.
Yeah.
Objective B, encourage the use and adaptive reuse of existing public and private buildings. It's called Ames Main Street now instead of Cultural and Entertainment District. I think Lisa gave us that one. And then we struck this action step, develop design pattern books to illustrate how adopted design guidelines can be applied. We already talked about graphics, you know, illustrating them with graphics. And then this action step about considering Campustown as a potential candidate for the Urban Neighborhood Main Street District program of Main Street, Iowa. It was suggested that be taken out as well because it's not a high priority. And I know there was some discussion about it in the past, and it didn't seem to fit with Campustown. Let's see. We've got a note here. Noted that tax abatements do not apply to historic properties in Ames. No local grants available at this time. So we should either reword this action step or take it out because we don't have the grant and tax abatement programs for urban revitalization now, you know, for the historic properties.
So remove it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next action step, we've accomplished that through updating the city website. Objective E, we changed preservation to heritage tourism. Same on the action step below that. And then instead of encourage, we're saying consider sensitive use of the Lincoln Highway logo as a branding tool. That's it. That's the end.
Okay.
So, I could make those changes we talked about and either, bring it back next time or if you wanted to vote to go ahead with it now, it's up to you. If you want to see it in writing, the things that we talked about changed, I can bring it back.
I think let's bring it back and maybe we'll have more members of the
Okay,
commission.
Right.
sure.
Because I think the next step is to decide where to pass it on as it is to the council.
Right.
So I think it'd be good to have other members of the commission.
Yeah. We're missing a couple tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
In the council, maybe we can have a summary of, or maybe before we send it over, but I mean, like you were talking about, Peter, summarize here are the accomplishments, in a bullet form, the accomplishments that we've made since our 2009.
Right. Would you be able to, Ray, pull out from the comments those items that are being reworked or proposed for dropping because of being accomplished?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So, wait a minute, if I just minimize up here, that'll just minimize this, right? Yeah. Stop share. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's it for that agenda item, since we're not
Okay.
making a motion or, moving it on at this point. We'll bring it back next time. So we could go on to the next agenda item.
Okay. Next item is whether we want future meetings to be held in person or virtually on Zoom.
Yeah, and the city attorney's office asked us to have that on the agenda. We're just trying to clarify, what the commission wants, each board and commission. I can tell you that at this time, all the boards and commissions and council have the virtual meetings, not in person. But we wanted to ask you how you felt about that, if you wanted to continue with virtual or if you wanted to have in person.
I'm comfortable with virtual.
Yeah, my
All right.
thought is to stay with virtual until we see what happens in the next several months.
Yeah, I think
Certainly with the numbers the way they are right now, I don't see this as a time to go to in-person meetings.
good point.
There's no benefit.
Right. Yeah.
So do you want a motion or
Sure. Yeah. Let's do a motion on that.
would somebody like to move? Lisa?
I move that we continue our Zoom meetings.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. I guess I'll ask for abstentions. I don't see anybody. The motion's successful that we prefer to stay with online Zoom meetings. Okay, we're to commission comments. Anybody else have something? I have one thing just for information purposes. Through the through the History Museum, I guess I need to update my language. The Historic Museum has a committee that is looking at concerns with the Yeah, remember the local landmark down on Lincoln Way,
The Martin House.
the Martin House. That's
Mm.
right. If people aren't aware, the Martin House was found to be a local historic site in 2007, but at the present time, it is vacant, and it is still owned by the Martin family, several generations down, but there is nobody from the family currently in town. And so there's a couple people that are loosely affiliated with the History Museum that have been trying to work with the family and figure out what can be done to preserve that landmark. And so I just wanted to let people know, as I understand it, that committee of the History Museum is sending a letter to the mayor and to ISU president to try to determine, the level of support for trying to do something to preserve the facility. There is a lot of concern right now. It's had a number of break-ins, and homeless people are living sometimes on the porch, sometimes inside. And there's concern that there could be, as we approach cold weather, there could be danger of a fire or something with somebody trying to keep warm. But anyway, just wanted to, since I think it falls very closely within historic preservation, I thought the commission should be aware that there is some fact-finding being done to try to come up with an idea. So just an update for information. And probably it'll show up. I think it's either this week or next week that a letter's going to the mayor, so that'll probably show up in the council communication type stuff. But just an advance notice to this group.
Peter, how long has it been unoccupied? Does anybody know?
I think for almost 2 years or maybe longer. So it's an ongoing thing. The person that the committee is working with is someone from Maryland who's the daughter of a grandson, I think, of the Martins. And right now, what I've been told is the family is not really interested in selling it, but they are interested in working with local people to try to find some way that it can be preserved. And one of the big things is to find a possible use for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, and one of the considerations might be that it might have to be moved to be preserved, which is the ideal for historic preservation. But since it's right, I mean, it is the only residential property along that strip of Lincoln Way, and the encroachment makes it's tough to make it a successful residential property. It might be made to be the home of a private nonprofit or something like that, or it, I mean, other things that have been just thrown out is that possibly it could be moved and utilized through the university or something for some purpose. But I mean, right now it's really just trying to come up with some ideas of how it can be preserved and actually brought up to a usable condition. It has had a lot of copper piping has been stolen out of the basement, so it right now cannot have water because a lot of piping's been removed. So,
Ray, what's the threshold for a property to be determined eligible for demolition? I mean, that's the bottom line if they want to prevent.
Yeah, I could check with inspections and see what that is, because they're the ones that work with that. But I could check with them and find out.
okay.
I think if it's already been unoccupied for 2 years and people have been breaking into it and it hasn't been boarded up for any, reason, and it sounds like the family, although they would like to preserve it, doesn't seem to be able to have the ability to invest much.
Right. We were told that they have made some improvements in the last couple years, but I mean, it's really unoccupiable right now because of the theft of the copper tubing and stuff.
Right. So its deterioration is going to be rather
Right.
rapid if there may be nothing left to save.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just a heads up that
Yeah.
an effort being made to at options for it and such. And it's working with the family.
That sounds good.
Yep. Thanks.
Any other comments from commission members?
Just as to the response about my memo,
Oh,
that
yeah.
I'd be fine going to presenting at the meeting whenever that might be, the budget meeting, and then, but hopefully if I'm out of town or something, someone can take my place, but I'm happy to do that.
If Ray can keep us advised on when that is, I'll back you up.
Okay, I do want to go ahead though.
Or we can go, I mean, it doesn't have to be just one person, but certainly we want to get that into the budget hearings.
Yeah.
I'm sure this year's budget's going to be
Different.
because of the COVID revenue stream, but
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll find out when the date of that is and email everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay.
we'll go to staff comments then.
I have one more.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, for what it's worth. It's pretty much set in stone. The research paper that I did a couple years ago about Parkview Heights, that I lectured at the library a year ago, had over 100 people come, is going to be published in the Annals of Iowa in the fall edition.
Oh, neat.
Awesome.
Great.
So we get a local Ames story in the Annals of Iowa, so that'll be cool.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Have to look that up.
Anything else? We'll go to Ray then.
Okay, I was just going to bring up what the council did with Lisa's memo, but she already did that. So,
Okay.
and she did a fine job writing the memo too. So, I don't have anything else really to add at this point. But we'll get together again next month, and on the agenda I'll have the historic preservation plan goals and objectives and action steps again, and anything else that comes up between now and then.
Sounds good.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Stay
All right.
healthy, everyone. Then if there's not anything else, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Bang.
Yeah, we need a motion for adjourn. Yeah.
We need a motion. Okay, who wants to make the motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 We are adjourned.
Okay.